Okay, this will be the start of a new series called the 4-stroke compressor engine. Alright, why the compressor engine? Because, well, compressor. Okay, so obviously I don't have the tools, all the tools like to make the crankshaft and the pistons and the cylinder, etc. Yes, so we will have to get a head start on this. Hence, I cracked open a compressor. Do not ask me how, because that was really painful. Anyways, now we got a compressor without the head. I removed the head. I might have it somewhere here, but we really do not need that. We will have to make a new head for this this thing to work. Okay, a 4-stroke. It should include 2 valves, a crankshaft, and also the camshaft, which basically pushes the piston, the valves. Alright. Okay, so this is basically the raw compressor that I got from the compressor, like inside the whole shell and all. This is basically that, right? It has the piston right here and the cylinder. Similarly, it also has a flywheel, but this I think it might not be enough for what we want to do with it. Like, it's too light and like concentrated really close to the axle, the central position, right? We want a more larger type of flywheel. We might add that later on, but for now we will just have to make the head for this. So I have actually went and made the head sort of. Okay, so the first issue that we got here was basically the piston. It rises too much. Yes, you can see a small lip that I don't know why this is not focusing, but there is like a small lip, hence we cannot place anything flat on here. Yes, it'll have to be a bit elevated. We will have to add a few spaces and all. Right, so I have made the head. I was initially going to make it from aluminium, as you can see right here. This is a very poor design and all, because I didn't had a full aluminium block. These two would be the valve ports, and then the exhaust port, and then the intake port and all that. Yes, first issue that we got was the lip. To overcome that, we will have to use acrylic. Now I know acrylic is plastic and it will burn out after some time, but well, just to get the proof of concept, we can use it. Yeah. Okay, so I got 2 sheets of, well, blocks of acrylic. Yes, and then these 2 sheets, these 2 blocks, I stacked them on top of each other, something like this. Yes, and a hole in one. There's a hole in one of the blocks, and then the 2 ports, will come to this later on. But there is a hole in one that goes right on top of the piston, something like this. Now this solves our issue for both these ports. Well, these ports I cannot get it inside the acrylic, because that will just make the acrylic too thin and vulnerable to breaking. Yes, and also resolve the issue of the lip on top of the compressor. Let's just get this down right here. Okay, there was a lip right here, and then this on top goes right like this, something like this. We might have an issue there because there's a hole, and we will figure that out. But for now, this is the basic concept. That's okay. Okay, so this goes on top of here, and then this piece goes on top of this. I don't know which side that was on. Probably like this. Yes. Then we got 4 bolts. These bolts were sort of really small, as you can see. These might not give me the full leverage, but still we can use it for now. We will change them out later. But this is the basic concept. This will be the head. Now, talking a bit more about the head, as I said, it is acrylic. That will give us a viewpoint inside the cylinder, what's happening inside the cylinder, but that also makes us really vulnerable to breaking. Now, acrylic is plastic and it will melt when well when heat is applied, and you know the combustion chamber, it must have heat or else it is not a combustion chamber. Hence, to overcome that as well, we used bolts, like large bolts, instead of the acrylic itself. Now let me just show you. Use steel bolts. I think these are steel bolts, like hardened steel. I have no idea why my camera doesn't want to focus, but still these are bolts. They were drilled throughout with a smaller bit. I have no idea which bit I used, but still. And then a larger bit was used halfway through to access this port. Now this port will be basically the pathway of the intake or the exhaust, whichever one that is. Similarly, for the valves I got these bolts. Well, they were like this before, something like this. They had a large sort of a stem, so these were great. Then I shoved it into a drill and flattened this out, sort of like slanted it into this. Yes, something like this. Also, I cut off the end. So this just goes right into the, where is my acha? This goes right into here. Okay, and I did lap it once or twice, but that just doesn't seem to have given me the compression that I want. Hence I will be lapping it again, and I hope to just get that on camera. Anyways, this is the basic concept. When the camshaft pushes this up, or well, it will be something like this with a spring, but for now, okay, let's just see that as well, how that would work. We got these springs also from the compressor. Most of these things were from the compressor. These were basically the supports that go, I believe, below this or something. Yes, it did go below this, like attached somewhere here or something. There was a big coil, and then these were attached to actually mount it to the shell. Yeah, so these were those springs. They are pretty strong and pretty reliable as well. Hence I will be using these. Just something like this. Might have another clip or two edited into this later on, but well, this is the basic concept. Yes, now these will be something like this, held into the head. This is the head, something like this. Yes, and then when the camshaft the camshaft, when that pushes this down, this basically opens the port. Yes, and then we will have to time that with the actual weight, I believe, what is it called? Forgot the. It will be timed with the crankshaft, but well, that is for a later time. For now, we just have to really see what this can do. Now, this does hold sort of some compression, but it just doesn't hold the compression to my taste. We can now assemble it as well. Okay, one other thing that I am really scared of, but I just took the risk on, is not including a spark plug. Now, in the whole build, you might have noticed that I do not have a spark plug, and that holds a very experimental reason. Yes, this would go something like this on top of the compressor sort of thing. Yes, on top of the head. Now we do not have any place for a spark plug. Even if, for example, this is a spark plug, we can shove it right into here, but it just doesn't seem that good to my taste, and it is really cramped. As you can see, this is the border line. These things, these are the borders. You cannot go beyond this. Maybe if you can drill a small hole in between these two sheets and then insert a really small spark plug, that could work, but well, I do not have the tools or the means to actually do that. Okay, now it will be a bit awkward, but it is what it is. We have to do it now. These two bolts, these would be completely isolated right around here. Yes, it is metal, it is a great conductor, hence it should be isolated in order for this to work. These will be the two terminals of the spark plug. Alright, these will be the two terminals, and then this gap right here, just wait a minute, the gap right in between these two bolts, that would be our spark gap. Now this could work and this could not work, that could really well vary, but for now all we can do is hope. We will also just reassemble this for now. First of all, a camshaft this high would put the whole engine at risk of breaking. Okay. Secondly, we can use a rocker system, a few rockers right about. Just let me turn this out. Yes, the camshaft should be right here then, or maybe even through this hole right about here, and then we will add bearings and all. For now, this is the basic concept. The camshaft right here, then a rocker arm which will be pivoted right about here, and then it could rock back and forth to push this down and out, push these walls down. That is the basic concept for now. Similarly, we also got the exhaust ports and the intake ports right here and here as well. One hole is a bit bigger than the other. Let's check which one it is. It is this one. This would be for the exhaust, and again, to protect the acrylic from breaking or melting, we will use a metal straw. This is basically a metal straw that I got from the kitchen. I hope my mother doesn't find out. Anyways, we can use this as a shield, or maybe even as an exhaust, because it has this curve right around here, right? So this is the basic concept of the head. Now the head can go on top of this. We'll just quickly assemble it again. 4 of these bolts, maybe even more if we cannot achieve the compression, but for now I believe, just to get an idea, this should be enough. This should be more than enough. One of the bolts, I think, stripped the threads. I think it was this one, but we will need a longer bolt for that. For now it will work. So for now, this is what we have. Of course, it does not have any compression because I didn't add any sealant around the head, but it will have compression. Inshallah, it will have compression once we add the sealant. Okay, before this head, as I said, I used this. This was a heat sink. As you can see, these were the blade, the fins, something like this. Then I just cut them off. Similarly here, I did not have an angle grinder or anything to cut it with. I actually used a handsaw, and it was pretty difficult to make this, but still, to stay on the safe side, we opted for acrylic. It is not really that safe, but it will do the work. Okay, we need a bigger flywheel now. We need to seal this up. We need to have, I believe, a carburetor. I might have one lying around. If we do not, we will get another one. Also, we need to isolate these two slots. Right in between this, we need to isolate it with something which is non-conducting. Hence, they use these both as two different terminals. Uh, this should, and I just realized if this was one of the terminal, the live ones, the whole exhaust is shorted. We'll have to figure something out for that, but this is the basic design for now. Of course, I could not make the cylinder and the piston because that was just way out of my league, right? I did not have a lathe machine, I do not have anything uh, to make the piston and to make the cylinder and to make the other stuff, the crankshaft and all. So we just opted for the easier way for now, right? Once we get the tools, we will make another series, inshallah. This is a 4-stroke engine, 2 valves, and I haven't measured the internal volume, but this is a standard compressor, the one which you can find in your fridges and all. Anyways, this should be it for now. I hope to find you all in the next part. Stick around for part 2, part 3, maybe even part 10, who knows. But this is an ongoing project. We will complete it inshallah in this summer break. Maximum it will take about a month or two, but this should be a really great project once we get done with it. See you soon inshallah. Allah Hafiz. Bye bye.